Hello everyone, welcome back to today's grammar capsule. We're going to check the different uses of three very important prepositions in English, the difference between at, in, and on. So let's get right to it. Let's check how to use each of these prepositions. We're going to start with at. For example, we use at when talking about places. This means that if I'm using at with places, we use it as the general building. What does this mean? For example, if you ask me, where are you right now? Well, I am at the school. The school is considered a general building. So in here you have other examples. For example, the shirt is at home. The shirt or I am at work. Maybe my friend, he is at the bank. If my family is on vacation, they are at the beach. Or sometimes if I ask you, where do you work? Oh, I work at a hotel. So when talking about places, we have to remember that at talks about the building itself. At home, at school, at the supermarket, at the bank. And since the place is with or has a direction, you can also use at to talk about the address, which makes sense because the address represents that building. For example, I can say that I live at 101 Main Street, but if you Google 101 Main Street on Google Maps, you're going to see my house. So you can use at for the building or at for the address because that address represents that building. So this is one of the uses of the preposition at. However, you can also use at to talk about the time something starts or something finishes. For example, I work at 9 a.m. You have class at 6 p.m. I finish work at 10 p.m. So another use of the preposition at is to talk about when something starts or something finishes. And then we continue with the preposition in. If you compare in versus at, you use at to talk about the general place. For example, I am at work. And in, you use in to talk about the specific place of that building. For example, I am at the school in the office. Or my sister is at work in the restroom. Or the shirt is at home in the bedroom. See the difference? At is for the building, in is for the specific place. In Spanish, at would be en and in would be dentro de. However, when we have conversations in Spanish, we don't really say in, we say at. And in English, at is for the place, in is for the specific location of that place. Want to see more examples of how to use in? Let's check some more ideas. You can also use in to talk about the period of the day. Remember when we said that at was for the time? I work at 9 a.m. I finish at 10 p.m. So you use at to talk about the specific time. And in, you use it to talk about the period of time. For example, I work at 9 a.m. in the morning. Or I have class at 6 p.m. in the evenings. And another use of the preposition in is to talk about the months. So if you're talking about dates, you can say, oh, my birthday is in September. If you want to translate it, it means dentro de septiembre, ¿no? Or, oh, I'm traveling in April. Estoy viajando dentro de abril. So other two uses of in are for the period of the day and months. And we have one more. On. On, as we know, is a preposition of location. You use it to talk about where something is. For example, the shirt is on the bed, on the table, sobre, no? However, there are a couple more uses of this preposition. You can also use on to talk about dates. Remember that we use in to talk about months, but if you want to be more specific, you use on to talk about the date and the day. An example you have here is my birthday is on April 24th. I say on because it's the month and the day. If I only want to say the month, I say in. Very good. You also use on to talk about days. For example, I have class on Mondays and Wednesdays. I don't work on Sundays. Because it's a preposition of location, you can use it to talk or to mention a street. For example, I live on Main Street. Remember at? Yes, exactly. You use at for the address. You use on only for the street. For example, I live on Main Street at 101 Main Street. And of course, you also use it for holidays. Makes sense, right? Because if you mention the day and the time and the month and a holiday, for example, Christmas, well, if I say I don't work on Christmas, when is Christmas? December 25th. So these are the uses of on. It's pretty straightforward, but we need to constantly practice because it's very easily to confuse and at, in versus on. But let's summarize it because you're going to eventually practice all of these. So to summarize, remember that we use at for the general place. What does this mean? Oh, I am at the bank. In is for the specific place. In line, in the restroom, and on is for a location. For example, the cell phone is on the table. You use at talking about time when something starts or ends. At 9 o'clock, at 10 o'clock. You use in for the period of the day. In the morning, in the afternoon, in the evenings. And you use on for the days. On Mondays, on Tuesdays, on Wednesdays. At, you use it with addresses. For example, at 101 Main Street. But if you don't mention the address, only the street, exactly, you use on. And talking about holidays, if I tell you my birthday is September, in September. But if I want to tell you September 11th, on September 11th. So I hope you enjoyed watching this brief summary of how to use in, how to use at, how to use on. My name is Ruben Oropesa. I greatly enjoyed being with you today. Remember to like us on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. Follow our channel for more videos. Have a great day and see you soon.